Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? So, welcome to another guided meditation. Today, we're going to focus what I'm calling the core need of protection. And to explain a little bit, right, what I mean by protection isn't specific yet, right? It's open, but what we're going to use to explore, right, is protection being the active, maybe even external, could be external, right? Could also be internal, but protection being the the thing that produces safety, the thing that produces space for curiosity, for exploration, even for making mistakes, right? Like when we have a supervisor who like is breathing down our throat, who like is super nitpicky, micromanages us, then like the curiosity and the space to explore and try new things actually diminishes. Like we stop trying new things, right? Because we're just trying to manage them. And so protection being actually the thing that creates the space to explore, to try new things, to be like, I like this, I don't like that, right? Even having preferences. When we're in survival mode, we're in survival mode. Like it's not even like, I would prefer to have this or this experience, or like, I'm gonna have a vision board of like where I want. Like literally, we're like, if certain needs aren't met, like we're just trying to get those needs met, right? We're just trying to get this thing to stop or the hurt to stop, right? And this concept of protection is all of these things that I'm kind of naming, is the ability to respond to those things, create the space that then like safety, nurturance, vulnerability arises, right? Again, it's a specific kind of way we're looking at it today. And what that can mean for any of us, right? Protection could be, I was using the example of imagining you're in a castle, imagining that there's like, you have dragons protecting you and a moat, and there's crocodiles, and you get to decide who enters and exits, right? That can feel like protection, is all of those layers of safety. Another example can be like, I feel the safest, I feel the most protected. And it's like I'm in a field of flowers and the sky is open and blue. I can see for miles in every direction and no one can sneak up on me, right? Like that open space is what protection feels like. But then I also give something a little more like, I guess, abstract, of protection can be like knowing who we are, right? Like, and I think of that protection, like somebody, can give me their perspective, can be like, you did this and this, or like you came at me crazy, or whatever, right? Like they can throw accusations my way, and I can both listen, like not even be reactive, not defend myself, but know who I am deeply, know my intentions deeply, care for their hurt, and also not be willing to take that on for them, right? To be like, I hear that, when I said XYZ, that really triggered you, that you felt really disappointed, that you felt really hurt and harmed by how I said that. Fully showing up for that, but not letting that collapse my healthy identity, right? Like it's really subtle, right? But that stability to me is protection. You know, um, I feel protected when I'm connected to my soul's purpose, connected to, like my vaster guidance. Um, and then Joki, I'll like see if that comes up in a little bit. But that's a really good question. Um, and then a few things that happen, right? It's like our bubble is like sustained, right? Like our identity is sustained. We don't like collapse in, right? We don't like kind of like fall into patterns of like shame, disconnection, reactivity, right? Like putting it back on this person, right? There's a space kind of in between where we're still saying yes to the situation and we're still saying yes to like who we are. Could be a way to think of it. Um, And so again, obviously, right, these are like a lot of things I'm putting out into the space, but I want this to be an exploration that is pretty open-ended, right? Where we can explore whatever of these aspects is coming up. You know, if we, you know, have access to these as a recording, right? You can listen to it and like a new thing can arise, or in our personal practice, right? New things can come up. But the first thing that we're gonna do in the sequence is like heal moments where we desperately wanted to feel protected and didn't feel like we had that, felt like maybe somebody let us down, didn't show up, intentionally caused harm, right? Showing up for those moments, which is big, right? Then allowing in the healing of those moments for just a new space for exploration of what would it feel like to feel protected, to feel like I can step into a field where my needs can be centered, where my perspective is important, valued, where I'm important, valued, right? And then from kind of creating that space, we're going to offer it to these different moments that needed it. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, I know that this some of these concepts that we've been exploring in the last few sessions are a little bit bigger. Um, so for folks that are like, you know, interested in going deeper, I have courses that explain that. But for everyone who's present, just like trust, right? Just like I'm putting these things out there, we're collaborating together. And a lot of it is just kind of like softening into the experience. You know, if things come in visually, awesome. If things don't come in visually, awesome. If you feel things, awesome. If you cry, awesome. If you're just thinking about breakfast tomorrow, awesome. Like it's all good. We're exploring things energetically, and that comes in whatever way is like most aligned, you know. So if y'all are in, we're gonna start by setting our group container. And we'll imagine that everyone who's here in this live conversation and everyone who's listening to this as a recording, that we're in this really beautiful energetic bubble. And we're going to invite earth and universal energies. And then just start filling this bubble with all these beautiful resources. All of the energies that would create the space for us to feel safe in this exploration, to feel supported. And then as those energies are coming in from the earth and universe, imagine that we as well set some group intentions. And so if these sound good, we can kind of just say yes to them. But I love having the space be a space where resistance can come up and it can be held, explored, healed, or we can go really deep, heal at that really deep level. And also do that with a lot of authenticity, where everything I'm putting out are its options, but really trusting our guidance, our intuition to bring in the things that we need in this moment to help us get that next breakthrough or heal that next piece. And this is also a space where we can be in community and practice staying individuated, staying with good boundaries in our bubble, and also getting to do things in community, learning in community. And then you can bring your own individual intentions for what you're wanting to explore and gain. Just imagine that new waves of energy flow through that container. And then we'll invite our guides and vaster guidance, especially as we explore protection Yeah, let's really kind of lean into the beings that we know in a really deep way that have our back. And even if that's not a conscious knowing, just invite that, allow that space to be created. And then we're going to bring our attention to our personal bubble. And we'll put magnets in front of us and behind us to start releasing energies. We'll clear our grounding cord and bring up a brand new grounding cord. And imagine these deep earth energies come up. They touch the bottom of your feet. And your whole aura gets to exhale. It gets to be held, supported, resourced by the earth. And then we'll have our guides start recalling authentic energies, recalling those energies and updating, empowering, enhancing those, and then beaming them in from the bottom of our feet to the top of our head, filling any spaces, any gaps. Perfect. And let's just kind of really trust our intuition and stay within our capacity. But let's invite a moment in time where we wanted, needed protection. And imagine that that moment can sit in front of you and it's a little bubble or a little picture. And bring really big earth energies to hold and support that moment. If the moment was really big and if it feels kind of sticky, just really like with lots of love, keep it outside of your bubble. Right now, we don't have to re-experience it. We're inviting it to sit in front of us. And we can keep putting magnets in front of us to release energies. And then with that moment in time sitting in front of us, the first thing we're going to do is just, with the support of the earth and the universe, is just really validate that moment. Really validate the fear and the hurt, the disappointment. Maybe in that moment I just felt really alone, really let down. And then we're going to start to wash that moment over with earth energies. And those really beautiful earth energies are like washing over that moment in time. And it's clearing what's heavy, what's stuck. We'll wash over that moment in time. Really healing, nourishing water. Imagining that that water is offering like sweetness, gentleness. Just allowing that moment to receive however much it's ready to receive. We'll invite the element of fire. And with that elemental fire, allow that moment in time to clear whatever is stuck, blocked, heavy. But also just starting to transmute the karmic energies that are there, completing any contracts. Starting to transmute any energies. Perfect. We'll bring the element of wind. And then let's allow those moments in time to ask from the earth and the universe for whatever energies they want and need. And so if that moment wanted kindness, imagine that we bring a whole ocean of kindness. If that moment needed to feel respected, bring a whole sky full of the energies of respect. And just let that moment receive those energies. And since we're exploring protection, imagine that you give that moment in time permission to ask for the protection that it wanted and needed. And let it be as big and over the top as it wants. It could be having its own planet, having a castle, it can be absolutely everyone completely on board and siding with us. Or it could be smaller, just somebody saying that they believe in us. They believe our perspective. Again, smaller, it can be forgiveness or just lots of compassion. And then as we bring these energies in, we're going to give this moment in time full permission to heal. And full permission to be completed, to be integrated. And we're going to let that process clear, dissolve, and integrate. We'll put magnets in front of us and behind us to release energies into. We'll clear our grounding cord and bring up a brand new grounding cord. And just imagine that there's all these beautiful deep earth energies that are so excited that we did this healing work at that moment in time. And we're going to have our guides recall our authentic energies, along with recalling any soul fragments or identity fragments. All those energies are going to get updated, empowered, enhanced. And then we'll get beamed in from the bottom of our feet to the top of our heads. And then we can offer all of this healing back in time, forward in time. Let it refresh our identity. Let it refresh our self-concept, even our self-talk. Good. Perfect. Now that we started to heal our relationship to protection, we're going to use that space to redefine our relationship to it. And so let's imagine now that we invite from our intuition, from our vaster wisdom, a picture of what protection looks like, feels like, is like. And again, that can be the castle. It can be a bubble that no one can enter unless we invite them into it. And just let it start filling out. If you don't see anything or feel anything, that's okay. And the first thing we're going to do with that little image is we're going to bring up earth energies. We're going to start to wash over that. We're going to start to stabilize it. And then we're also going to start to release any energies from it that are inauthentic. So any familial, ancestral, and as we clear those inauthentic energies, imagine that it just makes bigger space for your deeper, more authentic relationship to protection. And we allow that image or bubble to kind of fill out with more reference points. With more of the energies that would feel like protection. Perfect. And now that we have that bubble, let's imagine that we take it out for a spin. So let's invite different moments in time where, again, we desperately needed and wanted to feel protected. And invite those to sit in front of you like little pictures or little bubbles. And we'll bring earth and universal energies to hold and stabilize those pictures. And then imagine that with huge love and validation, we bring that bubble of protection and we hold each of those moments in time with it. And we let them receive it fully. And as they soften and receive it, imagine that they can receive more and more of the earth's love, the universe's love. And once again, we give those moments in time permission to heal and be completed. Nice. So now that we've taken that protection bubble out for a spin, imagine that we kind of like evolve it. It gets a little more stable now that we've tested it. And this time, however much we feel ready, however much we feel safe to explore, let's invite that protection bubble. And we're going to start at the top of our head and just allow it to gently touch your crown energy center. And just imagine that as your crown attunes to that protection, that there's all this new space for you to think your own thoughts, to have a unique perspective, a unique relationship to the divine, a unique relationship to yourself. And that with this little field of protection, that there's all this healing that becomes possible. All this growth and curiosity. And we're going to let this heal and evolve our crown energy center. And then we'll let that little protection bubble touch our third eye. And once again, imagine that with that protection, there's all these energies that we can start to clear and release that aren't authentic. All these ways that we were told to perceive things or not to perceive things, what we should or shouldn't do. Just allow that protection to create a space for deep safety, deep permission to arise. And we'll let that heal and evolve our third eye energy center. And then next we're going to allow that protection bubble to include our throat. with that field of protection, imagine that your throat just gets to gently expand. Gets to take up space. Allow for a really big clearing to take place now that that energy center feels protected, feels cared for. And that beautiful field of protection, imagine that all this healing can happen in our throat. All this new permission to open up, to speak our truth, to live from our truth. And just allowing that healing and evolution to happen in our throat energy center. And then we'll invite that protection to lower down to our heart. And in that field of protection, imagine that your heart gets to just soften, gets to receive that safety. And that safety, all this healing becomes possible. And really just like welcoming, inviting that deep healing to happen, that big softening. And just really allowing your heart to fully trust that protection and safety. However much is appropriate in this moment. And then we'll allow that healing and evolution to take place in our heart center. And we'll bring that protection down to our solar plexus. And just imagine that that energy center gets to take up space. Gets to soften. As much as that energy center wants to like unlock, giving it that permission, and really just making big space for healing, for clearing. And then evolving our solar plexus. And then next we'll bring this protection energy down to our second center. And with our second center in that protection bubble, We're going to just make a really big space available for our authenticity to arise. And then as our authentic energies are taking up space, imagine that inauthentic energies get to start to release back into the earth. If that's appropriate, out into the universe, if that's appropriate. And then imagine that experiences, moments in time, that in that protection that they get to be held, loved, processed, healed. And then one more time, just gonna allow for a healing and an evolution to happen in our second center. And then allowing this protection bubble now to lower down and wash over our first energy center. And just allowing our first energy center to just soak up that safety, that protection. Again, in that receiving of protection, just allowing whatever is ready to be healed and released to do so. Allowing all of these new reference points to come in for safety. And then allowing our first energy center to both heal and evolve. And then one more time, let's put magnets in front of us and behind us to release energies into. Let's clear and refresh our grounding cord and bring up all these beautiful earth energies. We'll have our guides recall authentic energies, along with recalling any soul fragments, identity fragments. And then we'll beam those energies in from the bottom of our feet to the top of our head, filling any spaces, any gaps. And we're just gonna reset all of our energy centers, even like reset how they communicate to one another. Let that reset our identity and self-concept. We'll let it reset and evolve our beliefs, our reality structures. We'll send out a spiritual text message to all of our relationships, just giving them a heads up. And then with this beautiful bubble of protection, imagine that we offer it back in time and forward in time. So that all these moments that desperately wanted and needed to feel protected, now they do. And we'll put magnets in front of us and behind us across time, just allowing for a clearing. We'll refresh our grounding cord across time, allowing for a deep, reciprocal relationship to the earth. And then we'll have our guides recall our authentic energies, updating, empowering, enhancing those, and beaming them in across time. And allowing all of this to heal our past, heal and evolve our present, heal and evolve our future probabilities. And if it's appropriate, allowing anyone's timeline to evolve, shift in whatever ways are valuable, important, aligned. And we'll just bring out the sparkles in. Let this integrate gently and sweetly. And